Sorry, we start. So, good afternoon to this afternoon session of this conference. And I would like to introduce you Sofia Talas from the University Museum Center at the University of Padua. Sofia is the curator of the Museo Giovanni Poleni at the University of Padua. Her research work focuses on the history of scientific instruments and the history of physics. She was the president of Universium, the European network concerned with European academic heritage. She was also secretary of the Scientific Instrument Commission of the International Union for the History and Philosophy of Science. This would be about models, a journey through discipline and cultures, a third mission project of the University of Padua. Sofia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lorisa, and many thanks to the organizers of this meeting for the kind invitation. So good afternoon to everyone. Yes, models. I have 2 points. Yeah. Well, the word modelli, models, both in English and in Italian, actually has an amazing variety of meanings. There can be models intended as a starting point for works of art, top models or whatever. Here we will focus only on the meanings within universities, but still, here again, we will see there are lots of possible kinds of models. And so, for instance, models can be, some models, in this case drawing models, were meant to be copied and imitated. There can be theoretical, mathematical models that are key elements for research. For instance, the standard model of elementary particles. There can be 3D models that are key elements, in this case, for technological design, so models of dams, models of locks, etc. And then models can be used for teaching. And these are only some of examples of the variety of models. So what emerges when you look at this topic, you see that models can be seen as bridges between teachers and students, bridges between theories and reality, bridges between different cultures. We will see an example later. And also, well, in the case you have, into the picture you have up there, this is a teaching class where students are drawing working from models of art and of works of art and archaeology. And actually this teaching class is for engineers and architects. And so you see here that we have models that are bridges between various fields of knowledge. So there is a great potential in models, and with this project we really tried to explore part of this potential. The project is a third mission project funded by the University of Padua, and it was carried out by 3 departments, so the Department of Physics and Astronomy, the Department of Information Engineering, Department of Industrial Engineering, and the University Center for Museum. It was made, the project is made because it's still ongoing. It is made of 3 parts: seminars, a temporary exhibition, and a theater piece. So first of all, the temporary exhibition. So here we focus on real 3D models. The temporary exhibition is organized at the Giovanni Poleni Museum, so at the Department of Physics and Astronomy, and it will be open up to until May 2026. So the idea here is that when we think of the creation and the transmission of knowledge, we think of books, of illustrations, instruments, drawings, but 3D models have been, and in some cases still are, crucial elements for the creation and the transmission of knowledge. So, and we will see that this is true in an amazing number of fields. So this is what the exhibition is about. Well, models were made and used from very ancient times. Models of the universe, for instance. We can think of the mechanism of Antikythera, a model of the universe, so from ancient Greece. In the exhibition, we start with models of the universe, astrolabes, armillary spheres, that we have and that are from the Renaissance, made in Europe, used in Europe. For probably the first models are models of the universe. And then another field in which models were crucial, medicine. Corpses were very difficult to be found, very difficult also to preserve, and so already from the 17th, 18th century, anatomical models, at the beginning, wax models, were made. And then it starts with physics. Cabinets of physics are set up. A cabinet of physics is set up in Padua in 1739, but in all universities around the world during the 18th centuries, you have these new cabinets of physics that were a collection of instruments used for teaching and research, because teaching totally changed, physics teaching totally changed in university in the 18th century. It started to be based on experiments and demonstrations. And so you have collections of objects. And in this collection of objects, you can see here models. Models, in this case, of a crane, 18th century model of a crane, models of carriages, because physicists in the 18th century were very keen in showing how physics could be applied for society, for the territory. So it was a sort of third mission that they already were carrying out. Then, with the 19th century, and this is something that happens in all universities, I would say, you have more and more new cabinets that are set up in relation with the emerging of new specific disciplines that become disciplines by themselves. So you have cabinets, for instance, for engineering. The School for Engineering in Padua was officially created in 1876, but cabinets already existed. So cabinets of hydraulic, cabinets for mechanic, and all these cabinets were related to university courses. And then you have models, models of dams, models of locks, models of bridges, of course, that were used in this case to represent cutting-edge new realizations to be presented to the students. Cabinets in natural science, cabinets in medicine, in zoology, compared anatomy, anthropology, veterinary. It's really a spread in all disciplines. Now, what were these models about? Well, in some cases, they were built to represent things that you could not see without a microscope. You see here in the case of plants, flowers, or the case of microfossils. In some cases, objects that you could not see even with a microscope, but that were studied with X-ray diffraction from the end of the 19th century, so minerals. So you can see the crystalline structure of minerals. And actually, these kind of models, the microfossils, but also the minerals, they were used for teaching, but they were also cutting-edge research objects. Well, one of the quite recent and very well-known is the DNA model, of course, which was made in this sense. Models also in the case of objects that you could not have to teach and research. So in archaeology, you could not have a real big collection of original Greek statues or Roman statues. So plaster cast collections start to be introduced for research and teaching. And then what we have just discussed, archaeology and artwork models in plaster for teaching drawing. In some cases, models are objects that represent something really, really abstract. We are in the field of abstraction, and so the well-known mathematical models, so sophisticated mathematical functions and surfaces become real objects. Here again, they were a little bit used for research, but mainly for teaching. Beautiful objects that became very well known because they caught the attention of surrealist artists, Man Ray, Max Ernst, and so they became also famous and very well known in this sense. So, models in all fields connected to the creation of the various university cabinets. So the exhibition, as you have seen, it documents the history of university teaching and research in Padua and beyond, because it's a sort of general history of universities that you can shed light on. In some cases, it documents the history of Padua, because some objects are really related to Padua. It is the result of a great collaboration involving many colleagues of the Center for Museums. Actually, many of the objects you have seen come from other museums and other collections of the university, and many of these objects are displayed here for the first time. What I would like also to underline is that accessibility and inclusion are key elements of the display. So we really wanted the models to become bridges and the exhibition to be a bridge able to welcome everybody. We have, when you enter the exhibition, this was taken care of by the Center for Museum. You have sensory bags, you have special booklets for all various kinds of disabilities. And then through the QR code, you can access a platform where you have all the sections of the exhibition. And when you get into each section, you have audio descriptions of the sections for visually impaired visitors. You have videos in language science. And we also were very happy because some students and PhD students of the university translated the texts of the exhibition in various languages, in 7 languages actually. So in Arabic, in Chinese, this is Hindi, but we also have Urdu and Persian, Spanish and English. And maybe we can also open it again. But well, the idea is really that we want to be open also to people who usually don't come to museum and don't visit exhibitions. So the foreigners, of course, also tourists, also foreign students of the university, but also foreigners living in Padua who just arrived or have been living in Padua for a long time. So this idea of really being welcoming, and the same being welcoming for all kind of public. We got in touch with the colleagues from the CAB, and so we had the opportunity to upload the collection, the exhibition in PHAIDRA. Well, actually, some of the objects are bridges, as Gianluca pointed out. They were already in PHAIDRA in the collection of bridges. But here, so we will make the link in the case some objects are already existing. But here, in a certain sense, you create a new collection, which is really very interdisciplinary, as you have seen. So models, knowledge in 3 dimensions. Here, for instance, models for teaching. And when you get into the objects, you have the description with the photo. The same for the anatomical models. Then you get in and you have the description of the photo. So here again, the aim is really to spread news about the exhibition and to make it known beyond Padua. So this is for the exhibition. The seminars. What I have not said also is that the whole project, so the exhibition, the seminars, and the Peace Theatre, was really a collaboration between many people, not only from the Center for Museum, but from all the departments involved. So the seminars in particular were taken care of by the Department of Industrial Engineering. And the idea was to propose itineraries through time and ideas, very focused on engineering, exploring crucial turning points for the scientific, technological, and social development. And the idea is to mix abstract concepts, so theoretical, mathematical models, and concrete applications, and history as well. So you have these groups of seminars, but for every group of seminar, you started from an historical object coming from the exhibition. So here on the left, you have the first slide on an astrolabe. While on the right, we are really in engineering models of cars. So you can have models of space rocket, satellites, etc. Then the theater piece. Well, the idea was proposed for the first time within another project, Science from the Islamic World to Today's Europe, that was carried out by the Department of Physics and Astronomy. So it was a one-year project about the multiculturality of science. What do I mean? It means that, well, science as we know it today is the result of the exchange of knowledge and ideas between various cultures and civilizations. And these exchanges have been taking place for thousands of years. So scientific objects, can be seen as the material evidence of these exchanges of knowledge. So this project was about the multiculturality of science. We set up mixed groups that were made of PhD students of the university, but also members of the local community, in particular foreigners and members of the Islamic community. And one of the groups, so you can see some of the members of the group here, proposed the idea of having a theater piece entitled Caravanseraglio, focusing on the astrolabe. The astrolabe is an instrument that the first idea comes from ancient Greece, and then it was developed in the Islamic world, and then it arrived in Christian Europe. So the astrolabe can be seen as a paradigm of the multiculturality of science, and the piece of theater was intended to focus on such an object. When the project stopped, 2 PhD students went on working on the text. Then we involved the Centro di Sonologia Computazionale, Center for Computing Sonology of the Department of Information Engineering, who are specialized in working on music with computers. They involved other composers from various nationalities, also people from the Conservatorio, a professional theater company was involved as well. And so the result, you see, it's really about mixing, in this case, various kind of knowledges, various way of working. So it was very, very stimulated. And, okay, here just to give you...
L'acqua nella bolla c'è tiepida, sa di cuoio e disperazione. Le sue labbra sono crepate, la sabbia gli entra negli occhi, nella gola. Comincia a confondere il battito del proprio cuore.
And so the astrolabe in this case was really a protagonist of the piece of theater, and I will only add that the Department of Engineering put sensors in the astrolabe, so when the actors moved it, used it, the music was transformed, so the actors acted on the music. So we have several performances scheduled. So the first ones already went on. The idea is not to present this theater piece in center well-known theaters in Padua, but in marginalized parts of the city, so in Arcella, which was regarded as a difficult neighborhood, then in the Department of Physics, and on the 12th of December, if things go as we hope to, in Padua prison. So to conclude, well, models are not only multifaceted key elements in university research and teaching, but they have a great potential to diffuse knowledge in society, stimulate curiosity, discussions, reflections, and critical thinking. With this project, we are exploring part of this potential, trying to use models to set up new bridges between various sectors of knowledge, between cultures and people. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Sofia. We have time for questions. Please feel free to ask questions. I have a question. Have you considered 3D digitization of the models to be published in PHAIDRA?
Yeah, but yes, the question of 3D digitalization is something that is currently discussed. There was a discussion also at the recent meeting of Natural History Museum here in Padua. First of all, we have to understand and to think very well why and for what scope. Or is it the image, just the photo enough? So it's something that we still need to discuss and reflect on, to really understand why would it be, what would it bring to have the 3D digitalization of the object. So reflections are going on, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And have you considered the possibility of creating downloadable and printable 3D reproductions to increase accessibility and educational opportunities?
Yeah, for the moment we have already prepared a set of 3D reproductions of some of the models. So for people who really need or want to touch models, making them downloadable would also be a great idea. Yes, we did not achieve it as of now, but it would be a very nice idea. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay.